Okay, this video is about what you're actually marked on for your folio and how you're going to be assessed. With the performance standards for the folio, there's 2 in planning and 4 in development. I'm going to break them down into smaller components. Okay. So the first part of this is to look at the refinement of your topic. What are your key ideas, and then drawing it into some sort of question or topic that you can actually research in the end. So here you're looking for P1, which is consideration refinement of your research question. Now with this, we're not just coming up with a question, but rather we want it to be teased out, and then we want to continue to refine it as we go along. Certain tools that can actually help you do this is through a SWOT analysis, which is identifying the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats of that particular topic. You could do a PMI where you look at the plus, the minuses, and so forth. You could also do some sort of mind mapping or a Lotus diagram. You're looking for quality over quantity, so what you're writing on there is that it's about the quality, not necessarily how much you actually write. So go back and revisit some of your brainstorming as well. Another area of this is that you're going to be looking at your proposal and where you started with the refinement of your topic from there, and then you can continually show your refinement throughout your entire research project. It might be that you come across some new materials and they actually lead you in a different direction. So you should actually be recording those things. Simple things like your journal writing and your timeline can actually indicate some of those things as well. So it's important to document all of that. The next stage is looking at planning, and through planning we're highlighting things that are appropriate to your question and so forth. So we really want to have a thorough planning of your research processes that are highly appropriate to your research question. So here we're looking at for those resources that are going to help you. We're not just going to say I want to visit some websites, but you really need to be really quite specific in those. One of the first resources that's actually really useful with this particular part is your iExplore book. That's excellent, so we highly recommend that you go back to that. Like I said before, it's not good enough to just say that you're going to go and find some websites and that's it. You need to be really a lot more specific with this. So if I'm going to go and use a government website, you're going to have to explain, why and why is it relevant to your topic, and be quite specific. Actually name the website or the book or whatever type of resource you're actually going to use. In this next stage, we're looking at development, and there are lots of different areas here. So the first one is D1, which is the development of the research. Here we're looking at how resourceful are you. Be specific about your resources and why. Don't just type into Google and then print off a whole heap of articles. That's really not going to get you enough, nor will it get you into that A band. So if you're going to do this, then explore further. Be more specific. Why are you actually accessing those particular resources? Investigate thoroughly by using heaps of sources. So, for example, you might tap into a range of primary sources, or you might tap into some secondary sources, and you could use a big variety of secondary sources, or what we would call archival sources. Okay, so think about the qualitative, quantitative archival sources. You can refer to the boards in the research project room. They have some really good pointers up there as well. You might also look at experimenting at this stage. You might try to actually and then go back and refine it and so forth. You might do some reading, but you're going to take yourself to that next level of reading. You're not just going to rely on one source or a couple of sources, but also compare those particular things. Here we're going to look at D2, and we're looking at analysis of information and exploration of ideas to develop the research. So this is like your exploration of ideas. You raise an idea, are you investigating it further, how are you actually going about that? Analysis of the information. You should be looking to analyze that information. who wrote that information? What motives would have they had behind that? What is it about? You might use sticky notes, annotations, journals. You could even have discussions with your teacher that you could actually record and put in your journal and that kind of stuff. Make sure you write it down. And this is the bit where you're looking at the credibility, the reliability, and bias and relevance that I've actually mentioned before. D3 is actually looking at the development of knowledge and skills specific to the research question. Ultimately, what you want to be is an expert of your particular topic. So, how do you, how do you build a chair? You need to look at all the tools and the methods that you might actually do to make that chair, but you might also look at all the skills that you need to develop in order to make it as well. So, what you're doing is identifying and finding and showing evidence in your notes and your journals and your annotations about how you've developed that and how you've shown that knowledge and skills. In particular, it needs to be really specific to your research question. Okay, and then the last one is about D4, which is understanding the development of one or more capabilities. Now, we strongly encourage you to really focus on one capability and do that capability well. By no means are you limited to that, but it is really important, particularly through the Chief Assessor's report and those sorts of things. They really indicate to try and do one extremely well. So if you want to do more, then maybe have a bit of a chat with your teacher about that. It's not okay to just state your capability and highlight a few key things in there, but you need to be able to show how you've actually explored these and developed your capabilities and your skills within that. So what are the different explorations? How specific to your topic? So relate it back to your topic. How have you developed that capability in relation to your topic? How can you refer to these and throughout the entire folio? So just don't have like one page dedicated to your folio. It's sometimes better to actually show that development as you've gone along. You might be in the first section, you might show some development of your capability throughout the planning stages. When you've gone and interviewed people, if you were actually accessing the literacy capability, you'd talk about how you've accessed a range of different things there and link it back to that capability. Just whenever you're producing any type of your folio, just make sure you're meeting those performance standards. So come back and revisit these and ensure that you've addressed all of them at the band grades that you really, really want. So if something's lacking, you'll need to come back and fix it up. Otherwise, continue to have conversations with your teacher and ask lots of questions and make time to ensure that you are meeting all of these.